We don't bow down to bullies and shields. We don't bow down to bullies and shields. We don't bow down to bullies and shields. We don't bow down to bullies and shields.
This group has been marching all day in 90-degree weather. There's police that have gained flank behind the Family Dollar, so they're starting to get, the protesters are starting to get circled in.
We don't bow down to bullies and shields.
We don't bow down to bullies and shields.
We don't bow down to bullies and shields.
And here it is. We're closing them in. We got police in the front, police in the back. They're coming up from the side. We've administered the warning. We haven't heard the tear gas warning yet.
Hold that.
That's next.
Yeah, hold that real quick.
We don't bow down to bullies and shields. We don't bow down to bullies and shields.
Here we come. They're pounding the batons on the shields. That means it's happening.
They're closing in. And here are the protesters. And they're holding, but they're very close. And the police from behind came. So they really boxed in very closely now. These protesters, unless there's really nowhere for them to go. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mandy Wright with the Detroit Free Press on night 5 of protests in Detroit, Michigan. We are on the east side of town on Gratiot Avenue. And police are asking the protesters to get off the roadways, like break up into small groups. But the group of protesters, it's a pretty medium, 250 people perhaps, not budging. Police moving in. And they're closing in. And it's really a tense atmosphere here. Hands up, don't shoot has been the rally cry. And
here we go, first arrest.
First arrest. First arrest. Bicycles, the police are removing the bicycles. All right, we're told to step back. Being told to step back, arrest happening right here. And people just being taken away, being dragged away. It's a melee, it's melee.
I don't know if you can hear me, guys, but...
Okay, all right, it's happening all around us. I got out of here. I'm out. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. We will. Oh, that was close. Yep. Getting to the other side here. Getting threatened by police. So I just moved back. Arrests are happening. No tear gas though. People screaming. And there is pepper spray. Canister pepper spray. It looks like a fire extinguisher. Okay, yep. Told to back up. arrests happening very quickly.
Hey, I don't told you walk up, get out. I don't care who you are. You stand up.
Put my trespass more out front of myself. I have press on my helmet, but pretty much everybody has been detained that was in that group, it looks like. Protester sitting with zip-tie handcuffs. And it's been a long day, so these protesters are pretty tired. Got a little bloody lip. Officers taking a break. I'm Andy Wright with the Detroit Free Press. For just joining us, arrests are taking place on Gratiot Avenue at East Outer Drive on the east side of Detroit, Michigan. And police took this crowd down really fast. And they're past curfew. But it was solidarity to be civil disobedience. There was no tear gas, no rubber bullets, like we've seen other nights. This is night 5. Spectators from the neighborhood looking on, and police guarding all sides. Protesters are being lined up on the curb. Tell us what's going on,
That
Mike.
was remarkable.
That was fast.
When it went down fast. Pepper spray was deployed. We didn't see any tear gas, but you can taste the pepper spray.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Police brought them down, zipped them up. We're seeing police putting water in the eyes of people who are complaining, but there are some very unhappy people here. But it looks like as fast as it started, it's over.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't see the pepper spray being deployed. I was on the other side. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. It's my colleague asking me if I'm all right. It's all right. It's night 5 of protests in Detroit. And a takedown of about 250 people, but I'm sure we'll have the arrest numbers. So we got water going in the eyes, just like Elric said. Trying to help out.
Timmy!
It's him. He got sprayed in the face, a protester. So this protester's hurting. I guess he got pepper spray. The protester's bloody right next to him.
Just put it in my face. That's all I got. I gotta go put another bottle.
So police are trying to comfort some of the folks they took down. I'm going to walk the line here if I can. I'm going to go behind. Police on this corner, police and arrestees on this corner. Okay, yep, moving back. Yep, thank you. Yeah, before they were just protesters, now they're prisoners. Yep.
That's
So-
chilling. Before they were protesters, now they're prisoners. We'll see if they spend the night in jail.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. 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 All right. So some of the neighbors watched the takedown, and that went really fast. It was quite remarkable. No tear gas because the protesters weren't really moving. So
There's the paddy wagon.
hold that. I'm gonna take my mask off. I can take it off now.
I can call it a paddy wagon because I'm mostly Irish, but they're taking kids away, and it is mostly kids.
All right. I got tackled. Thank you. Thanks. I took my mask off, and it's amazing. After 5 evenings, I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in the police ranks, and they're processing, putting zip tie handcuffs, and taking people away. And
So, folks, I know people say the media gets in the way. This was done with precision, surgical precision. Some people are bloody because it took them a while to wrestle them down. You know why we're here? So that it goes like this. So it is precise. So it is clean. So the police in the city are accountable. So the protesters have some protection. So I don't know what side you think we're on. We're right in the middle because we want to keep an eye on this. Tonight it looks like people did their jobs. If they didn't, we'll be the first to let you know.
thanks, Mike. Yeah, helicopter really flying low. What? Oh, you got tackled? Oh, okay. Take your mask off. So one of our reporters got tackled. Darcy Moran, who was with you yesterday on most of the march, so we're going to talk to her and just figure out what happened. So meanwhile, I'll keep the camera on the arrest. And this woman's giving information to the arrestees. And there's debris all over the street, people's signs, water bottles, personal belongings, bicycles. So Darcy, this is Darcy Moran. She was with you yesterday. What happened? Was there a takedown with you? You were
Yeah, I was taken down and they started putting the zip ties on me on the ground. I was with my colleagues were right behind me, so they started yelling media. I had
Turn around.
Yeah, that's yep, I see your press pass. Yep.
And I had this thing on my front, so I was sitting out of the grass, and I don't think my colleagues, they might be able to say the back view better than I can. I don't think you guys were too far behind me though, because they were pushing up against the people in the street right here. And what we saw is, I think, and it was all very fast. Some of the protesters were moving this way, and then towards the parking lot area where we're now standing. Police came from the Family Dollar area that we're facing off with, and I didn't have a moment to raise this. I was grabbing it to go up, and I saw I was getting grabbed and pushed down to the ground. It was the softest tackle you can imagine on grass, I guess.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. Some people did not fare as well. We saw a man with a bloody face and a guy who must have gotten pepper spray because a police officer was giving him water. So
yeah, we've seen that. I was lucky. I think some people went down much harder than I did.
That's okay.
I'm laughing out loud.
I'm glad you're okay. Yep, we were close.
Manny, Chief Craig is talking over here.
Chief Craig is going to talk to the media. He's our chief of police in Detroit. Oh, I'm with the media. Yeah. Thank you, Chief.
Do you have any update with those tickets? I know there's some. I would ask if you're not going to wear them.
Yeah, no, I got it. I just took off my respirator. Thank you, sir.
Was there any update with those other groups? One group was, I know police told me they were letting them not stop downtown.
There we go. Yeah, he's smart to say that.
Okay. This was a bigger concern. The blocking the street. Clearly, there was no effort on their part to disperse. We have a dispersal law, unlawful assembly. That was, and we repeatedly gave that. I don't know if you were here, but we repeatedly right there. You gave it him. No, I didn't get it, but I was here with my staff here.
What was your vantage point for all this, by the way, Chief? Were you just right behind all of this?
I was behind this because I wanted to make sure, it's important to me. Again, we support it. Our goal is not to arrest. We don't want to arrest anybody. We don't want to ticket anybody. However, we can't afford to have what we see in other places. And all we ask, you have wide latitude. They took over the street. That's fine. But when it became the curfew, it was thought that they were going to come back to headquarters. Then they told us they were going to East Point. East Point is, 4 miles from here. It would have been another hour. And you're blocking up the city street. It's a violation of curfew. And we declared it unlawful assembly.
Last thing I have for you, Chief, do you expect this to continue into the week? How many days to come?
You know what? I have no idea. Again, we support free speech.
Yeah.
My officers are all angry about what happened to Mr. Floyd in Minnesota. Missouri.
Chief Craig saying
So I said,
Chief Craig saying his officers are angry what happened to
So
George
we
Floyd.
recognize we're angry. Many law officers currently they appreciate the position. I'm taking a very firm position. However, we can't allow the law to be broken and just dismiss it. This is about public safety. And we want to make sure this city is safe. We want to make sure that the protesters are safe. So, I appreciate you. I'm glad you were, because Jason Coach thinks maybe you rushed a little bit. But I'm glad you were here throughout the week. So, we gave a lot of time to discuss. We gave repeated warnings. We wanted them. We were even willing. We had a bus on standby so we could take them back downtown to the car. But we also know intelligence said there were numbers being passed out of attorneys. So clearly, the goal was, we're not going to leave tonight. We knew this even before this started. We got information, but that still, we wanted to give them a chance. We did not want to arrest.
Chief, can you just give me a box that's taken facility?
Sorry?
There's a box that's taken over here that grabbed somebody that they arrested.
No idea. I'm not just.
How do you think it went once the arrest started?
Well, there was some resistance. I could see that. Some willingly complied. We advised them that they would be arrested. Some complied, some didn't. Some offered some resistance. And so they were taken into custody. And as you probably saw, Jason, you probably got from your photog that the officers quickly, after they were apprehended, knowing that there was some discomfort, they gave them water. Several times. Several of the individuals will give them water. We don't want to arrest. But if we have to, we do.
Chief, where did these folks go from here? Do they get released tonight? Are they ticketed and released, or are they
No,
detained?
we're going to take them in and process them at the Detroit Detention Center. Certainly they have the ability to bail out. And I suspect with proper identification, many of them will be allowed to leave. That's a city statute curfew. And so that's the law.
So the
Last night-
violation, no resisting arrest. Is
Well, I don't know enough. I mean, I could see this from my vantage point that there was some resistance. But,
Chief, it looked like yes. Sorry, go ahead, Randy. Go ahead, Randy.
I'm sorry.
I don't have enough detail, but that close. Probably where I'm standing now in the middle.
We're with Chief James Craig of the Detroit Police Department discussing the arrest that took place on Gratiot Avenue in Detroit.
As I pointed out, some did not resist, some did resist. But more importantly, they were offered water.
Is it disappointing after a pretty impressive day yesterday? Considering what happened yesterday,
I'm not disappointed. I would have preferred it just not happen. Clearly I would have liked to report it to you that it was a peaceful protest, there was compliance, but we had a person report. And again, patience. Here we are at 9:05. first warning was given at about, I want to say, 7:50, over an hour, a little bit over an hour. So a lot of things, like I said, modifications. My direction was, unless they attack, not use gas. So we had determined that some gas was deployed, so I've directed not the kind of gas that we're deploying on the last 2 nights, small canister, all the officers are equipped with gas. When there's resistance, when you're talking about a large number of people, that's problems. But that was never the intent to deploy any gas. That certainly was not my direction. And when it comes to deploying gas, I make the final call on that. I have not made a call. As I was saying,
ML Elric giving Steve Neveling some eye drops. This is Chief Craig speaking to the press, but hard to hear with helicopters and him with his back. So ML Elric's about to ask him a question.
However, in these kind of situations,
That takedown was really fast. Several arrests were made in a matter of less than 5 minutes.
well, we haven't. I've opened an investigation. I want to know.
You're welcome, Jeremy. Thanks for the acknowledgement.
So some of the protesters did offer resistance. And so you use that force as necessary to overcome it. But at this point, I'm just not certain. It's very early. I'm just being transparent with you. I mean, all of you can feel the gas. So if we didn't deploy, then a protest did. At this point, I don't think a protest.
Chief, I'm sorry. It was hard to hear you over here. Did you say the police deployed gas, or you don't know?
Right now, we have an investigation.
Okay.
And what I'm told, that one officer with his personal gas that we are about to carry deployed the gas. We know that there was some resistance. We're not certain if it was in response to that. I just don't know.
What type of gas?
It's the canister, the CS gas. It's very, So what I'm told, this is all very preliminary because at this point, but we have opened an investigation through our professional standards section because anytime we use force in the Detroit Police Department, we must do an investigation. So that's going to happen.
Chief, yesterday it seemed like canisters were deployed.
There were no
Might break out.
canisters.
I mean, of those personal.
I don't know. There was some gas, personal on one person. This is all preliminary.
I understand.
It could have been multiple. But someone deployed in the wind and came back, so I just don't know. But we know gas was used, but not in the typical fashion that you saw where it was from a big canister. It was, again, officers carry small containers of CS.
Chief, we're still in a pandemic.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thanks, Chief. Thank you. So bicycles, debris left here after several arrests made. The detainees are going to be loaded into a bus that's over here, just behind these cars. You can see the vehicle that came north on Gratiot Avenue, but debris and signs and everything, police just mingling around. And folks being loaded onto a bus after being arrested. Street is littered with debris right by the Family Dollar. Personal belongings. Looks like there's a trumpet, some horn in that bag. And police with detainees sitting in the middle of Gratiot Avenue still. Helicopter flying overhead. mounted police officers. I'm facing north on Gratiot towards Outer Drive. You can see a Reno's Coney Island in the background and detainees sitting on the ground. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andy Wright with the Detroit Free Press, covering night 5 of protests in Detroit with a takedown. We'll come back to freep.com for exact numbers, but it was a really fast takedown of about 200 protesters, and they're being loaded onto a bus. Some resisted, but by and large, it was a very peaceful protest. You had my colleague, Brendan Hunter, narrating today in 90-degree weather, and he's a historian. He's our neighbor's writer, and he's just fantastic. So.
So Steve Niebling of the Metro Times just told the chief that he was roughed up. His press pass, he says, was torn off. His glasses were smashed. The chief called over an assistant chief, and they're now taking his information.
I saw you putting eye drops in his eyes. Oh, here he is, right here. So they're going to investigate. Steve's had some history. I don't know.
Steve likes to be in the middle. That's what makes him such a great reporter. But this is a really tricky situation for everybody. We're grateful that the police are letting us get right up on top of it. We want to be there. We do not want to be caged animals watching from the grandstands, but that does bring with it an element of risk. And the crucial point is, are people being gratuitous? Are reporters being targeted?
Yeah, I was about to be taken down, and I think because you had my back, it didn't happen. So
we're on the media. That's the thing, is they're not looking at us. And if we get up in their peripheral, they don't know. So we're grateful that everybody from the Free Press seems to be okay.
Yeah, Darcy Moran was almost arrested, but she seems okay. I don't want to downplay it, but
no, she said she was. I believe she said she was tackled as gently as possible. That seems like jumbo shrimp to me. But the thing about Darcy and a lot of our people, we're tough. We're going to be out here, and we want to get as close to the action as we can. We know there's an element of risk involved. We think it's worth it. But we always want to make sure that we're treated fairly, and that when people on either side see us doing our job, they realize that what we are is doing a job. We're not trying to get involved. We're not trying to cause trouble.
Right.
It's
That's
important
right.
that we be here. You know that because you're watching.
That's right. Thanks for joining us. That's ML Elric. We'll find out the numbers tomorrow. Is there any word on the numbers of how many people are arrested here tonight?
Yeah, we don't have any numbers yet. The chief did say that some of these people are going to be taken to the Detroit Detention Center. So this is not a catch and release situation. This is a give us your ID. We're going to write you up if you can bail yourself out. And you may have seen on the live stream, there are people here prepared to do bail. That's right. So hopefully most of these people will go home, because particularly during a pandemic, the last place you want to be isn't a police lockup. So we're hoping everybody goes home. But we will have the information tomorrow for you around 2 o'clock at freep.com, when the mayor is expected to have his daily briefing. We expect the chief and the DPD to provide some numbers on who was arrested. Yesterday, we found out that they caught some railroad spikes they think troublemakers brought. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow if they find the same evidence that they're insurgents there. Today seemed to me, at least, as a very organic operation. If there was Antifa or somebody else, or anonymous or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't have that feel.
Well.
It didn't really have that feel to it.
These looked like people who knew each other.
And they had walked miles in 90-degree weather. So the protesters, though some did resist, it wasn't a big fight.
It went very, very fast. One of the critical issues that we're going to have with the chief, when they had the curfew the first day, they did not enforce it until somebody threw something at them. Tonight, nothing was thrown. They decided.
They locked arms. Yep.
We're going in. The chief said the justification was the traffic was being blocked, and they just couldn't tolerate that any longer. But I have to believe somewhere in the back of their minds, and maybe it was at the front of their minds, is
Okay, sorry about that. It went into a delay.
I have to tell you, when you think of the evolution of the Detroit Police Department, from where they were 20 or 30 years ago, this isn't to say that everything's perfect, but 20 or 30 years ago, no one would be helping somebody find their glasses. So we are making progress, folks. We're probably not where people want to be or where we should be, but we're crawling, baby. We're crawling, and we're going to get up and start running soon.
Thanks, Mike.
It's an incredible sight, to tell you the truth. And Mandy, I suspect what's going on now is that police are looking for evidence of insurgents.
Yeah.
Remember, we reported that there was a box of protein bars that was full of rusty railroad spikes. At the same time, I think they're trying to find people's property to get it back to them. I think they're also trying to see if there are any nasty little surprises in these bags. And if they are, it's going to go to police intelligence, who we believe are working with the feds to try and figure out if Detroit is one of the cities where the bad guys are coming to try and take a positive thing and turn it into a toxic thing. So far, whatever you think of the protesters, whatever you think of the police, Detroit has not burned. It has not been looted. Man, that is it seems absurd to say that that's a beautiful thing, that we're out here again with people who don't agree. But the one thing they seem to agree on is we are not going to destroy our city. Let's hope that's the way it stays.
That's right. Okay, thanks, Mike. Yeah, police just doing a little mop up. Lots of debris on the ground.
Oh, we checked those already.
Any of those?
No,
Okay.
They look just like that.
Okay.
But thank you.
I'm Mandy Wright on Gratiot Avenue at Outer Drive after a takedown of about 150, 200 protesters. And I'm about to sign off. Thanks for joining us. Stay safe. Night 5 of protests in Detroit, Michigan.
Steve, what they look like? Were they metal frame, horn rim? Exactly like this. Exactly like this. Okay. I was going to say, you want to try those on? Maybe we'll probably run before. Is that him? No, okay. If you can remember where you were when those assholes elbows, you're better than you.
That bus that's taking the arrestees, the prisoners, or one officer said prisoners once were protesters, now prisoners. So I think I'm needing to cross the line here. Were you able to watch? Did you see what happened here tonight, sir?
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't see?
There was pepper spray, people running.
Pepper spray, people running. Yep, he saw that much. Hey, were you part of this march today?
Oh, for a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and so how did you manage to escape arrest?
We just went back home to get our bikes, and then when we caught up to the protest, we caught up to the ones that were going back downtown rather than down Gratiot.
I see.
And then when we finally realized that there were still people down Gratiot, we came around this way, and that's when the buses already came and everyone was already getting loaded on.
Oh, so it was after the actual takedown?
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Do you feel fortunate that you weren't arrested, or would you have been part of that? What do you think what you would have done?
It depends on the moment. I can't say I wasn't there. I'm not sure.
Where are you from?
From White Lake. I live on the east side now.
Thanks. Ma'am, are you part of this neighborhood? Okay, I won't. I'll turn it away from you. You bet. There we go. Easy like that. She's angry. I'm not really sure what she's angry about, but no need to antagonize her. But the police are, so she's saying this is our city, and the police actually clapped for her.
So they clapped because she said they're not going to do this in Grosse Pointe. They're not going to do this in East
Oh,
Point.
I see.
And I think the police point was, yes, please, protest as much as you want on the other side of the border. But that's not going to happen, folks, which is sort of interesting because there are problems elsewhere in the metro area.
Right, sure.
And if you can get 1,000 people in a suburb,
Yeah.
you can take it over. Not that we recommend that.
So she was asked not to be on camera, but, you know, she's in public, so kind of curious about her perspective, right? The police were going to offer her a bullhorn so she could quit clapping. It's kind of an interesting scene.
I'm telling you, when I said it was getting bizarre, the woman who was berating the police, perhaps coming to pick up her prescription, we don't know, was offered a bullhorn by the police. I think at this point, you know, we don't want to make light of this. This is a
No,
very
of course
serious
not.
issue.
Exactly.
This is an issue we're going to have to work on for a long time. But I think what you're seeing from the police is some relief that this went down the way they thought it should, that no one was seriously hurt, and that, you know what, they're going to get to go home.
Yeah, well, as long as there's action on the scene or no action, I guess I'll just keep rolling here for a bit, see what happens.
They don't believe it's right. Nobody believes it's right. We all want justice. So in the name of justice for worldwide peace, for humanity, and end this war, we gonna take a knee for safety for everybody. Let's do it.
Everybody's taking a knee, and the police are taking a knee with them. This is big. This is really big. Police are taking a knee. It's a interesting moment here. People in the community fist bumping the police officers.
Thank you, man.
Something else. Chief's gonna do it too. This is they're gonna do it again with the chief. There we go.
They're doing it with the chief.
Chief Craig giving a thumbs. Hey, Brendan, break it down for me. What just went down here? That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we have Pastor Mo here taking a knee with DPD, and then hollering justice for George Floyd. And then Chief Craig came out here and actually did it. So everybody came back, hollered justice again. Chief Craig took a knee with his officer and Pastor Mo. It was a great scene.
Yeah, it's a really interesting moment, that's for sure. I'm glad I didn't stop rolling. Yes, I'm Mandy Ray with the Detroit Free Press on scene where about 100 to 200 protesters were taken down during a protest. And Brendan Hunter was just breaking it down for us. Chief Craig taking a knee with his officers.
The protesters came. They wanted to initially go to East Point. That's what they were saying. I kind of figured it wasn't because the precinct is right there. And so you have police behind them, you have police in front of them. They kind of boxed us in right here between Thomas and Keystone Drive. They surrounded them and walked up on them. They really used it before they just arrested everybody.
So there's no tear gas?
I believe there was some tear gas. I kind of felt it in my eyes because I put my mask on real quick. But it definitely wasn't as much as the last 4 days at all.
Okay, so you've been
A little 4 days.
You've been here the other day.
I've been here for the last 4 days, 5 days.
This compared to the other days was.
Yeah, the people are still arrested. They're being loaded onto buses,
It was the least violent.
and they're going to be processed.
No force at all.
You know, say what you want, but it was a moment with the chief of police taking a knee on Gratiot Avenue with his officers and Pastor Mo. On night 5 of protests in Detroit, Michigan. Do you see Chief Craig just take a knee?
You know, this is how crazy this is. The police and some veteran activists who have been out here trying to mediate things took a knee with officers, and some of the protesters screaming, "Don't take a knee with them." I understand they're upset, but at some point we all got to kind of come together a little bit, right? I mean, isn't there a point where we could say, if we can't meet together, maybe we fight as friends? So clearly we have a long way to go, and I suspect that Mandy Wright, the queen of the live stream, is not going to get a night off tomorrow. But she's cool with that, right?
Well, as long as you're like saving me from arrest, I guess that's a good.
Disappoint a lot of people. I will say this woman had a wonderful idea. She said, make all the protesters come here and clean this up. That should be their punishment. I think that would be a lot better than fining them. Send them to court. I think everybody could agree, because one of the things that you've seen after all these protests is kind of quiet, and you got to be there late. There are some people who will come around and clean up the water bottles. There are some protesters who are cleaning up, which is because from the time of Mayor Archer forward,